Hey guys, welcome back to the Lit Mag Lab podcast. I'm Vevna Forrow, yeah. So previously, I was showing you around Rattle Poetry, aka Rattle Magazine. And yeah, so real quick, before we dive into this next episode, which you may see what we're going to cover next, just indicative of the video if you're watching that on, Spotify or YouTube, I'm going to just circle back to that past episode because I want to mention something real quick. So the Rattle Foundation, Rattle Magazine, something that they also have, series is the anthology. So the Rattle Young Poets Anthology. Now I believe, I was digging through the trunk that I have, and I have the 2023 RYPA issue, and that one entailed, it says 20 poets aged 15 or younger contributed to this volume, offering their perspectives on the first crushes, childhood toys, climate change, nature, and more. So yeah, I think that just goes to show you that, Rattle has published, a wide array of poets, of all ages, and that, lit magazine journals, right, they can also have anthology series. I think that's really cool and neat. So yeah, I was digging through again. I have issues like 77 through 79. I didn't, renew a lot of my subscriptions because of course cost, right, and budgeting. But anyways, definitely, check out, some of the anthology series sometimes that lit magazine journals have. This is a prime example of one. And yeah, so now let's dig into this episode. For episode 44, we are going to cover Taco Bell Quarterly. And that name always makes me smile. I feel it's a lot of fun. And I don't know how many of you guys listening are Taco Bell fans or still eat at Taco Bell, but I think the last time, guys, I ever ate at Taco Bell was over 2 decades ago. And that's just because, I grew up not going to a lot of fast food places, but occasionally, once in a blue moon, I'd go to some Greek places, eat at pizza restaurants, and all that stuff, my folks, just in moderation, once in a blue moon, not like regularly. We do like a lot of home cooked meals, and we did a lot of shopping at those organic co-ops and markets and stuff like that. And yeah, but I must say I have a fond memory of my first ever Taco Bell meal for sure. I remember when my parents got me Taco Bell, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. I'm gonna have my first Taco Bell a meal. Obviously, it was a taco, right? I don't remember like all the other side stuff I got. I just remember, I got always usually like a drink and like, other stuff. And yeah. Anyways, my dad had this fun T-shirt. I'll show you guys real quick. I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but these Yo Quiero Taco Bell T-shirts. So my dad had a short sleeve one that looked like this. So we used to laugh and say that actually, and I was always like, it was always fun. And, of course, my family has had chihuahuas, of course, over the years. And yeah, this t-shirt is a lot of fun, Yo quiero Taco Bell. Do you remember that? I think that was also part of a commercial, right, back in the day or something. But anyways, so Taco Bell Quarterly, no doubt, has a really fun vibe to it. Just the name itself brings a smile to your face, right? And yeah, so you can see they've been bookmarked about 758 times on Chill Subs, and that is because they are able, of course, to pay writers for their work. And yeah, so I'm just gonna do the usual, cover a little bit about it and walk you through their site a little bit, guidelines, etc., and give my thoughts. Yeah. So personally, I have submitted to TBQ myself in the past, and I did. While I didn't, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't hear back on a decision on my submission, so I ended up, I think, withdrawing it. I don't know when at that time was, but it was quite a while. And yeah, it happens. Things get lost in the shuffle. I think I did that through Submittable. Whether it be email or Submittable, sometimes that happens when you submit to a place. They get a lot of submissions, so I understand, but obviously we like to hear a decision back on work we submit, but nevertheless, I think the work that Taco Bell Quarterly does and the volumes and issues are really fun and awesome overall. And yeah, you can see that it says open here. And just real quick before, I tell you a little bit more about them, it says open here in Chill Subs. And, you can see opened April 20th, 2025 and pays, right? You can click on these, right? You can see they pay $100 for their calls. And that's not necessarily true, I think, because I saw if you go out on Twitter here, it says just yesterday there was a post, it says, "Do you want to submit something for TBQ? Email it to me. We pay $150 now. There are no rules." So I'm not sure if they increased that from 100 to 150. That's not just it's not evident in chill subs if that they increased the amount, because in most places I'm seeing $100, but it's possible that it's gone up. If we also go out to Duotrope here, you can see that it is it's showing temp closed on all calls, but that's not necessarily true. I think it's just a matter of, you know, sometimes it's hard for, us to input, specific dates and things like that. And, it's hard on some of these platforms. And sometimes I think, for Duotrope, I'm not sure if they look at submittable, because we go out to, let's say, for instance, submittable here, and I'll close this pop up here. So you can see submittable, and it says on there, it says you may send them during non-open and open periods to their email address, but they risk falling into deep black holes of oblivion, which always sucks. That's what it says here. So they do have a submittable page, and it says there are no open calls for submission, but that's not necessarily true. I think for the most part, it's based on their social media activity and stuff. They're open and they're accepting it via email. So some places do that. Sometimes they have calls and they're like, yeah, email us instead. Instead of submittable. But I think it may confuse writers doing that if you're not using one sole way to intake submissions, or majority of them. So it says they look for poetry, prose, poetry, and art. It says 150 here in submittable, so I think maybe in chill subs it's just not updated itself. So I think they bumped that up from $100, and that's awesome. So yeah, I think they're working on volume 8 right now. I could be wrong, but anyways, yeah. So let's go back to their website here, and so this is their main page, and yeah, so you can see it says here, is this a joke? So no, it's a real literary magazine for you to submit to your Taco Bell literary Taco Bell writing. Yeah, so, and then it says here just a little bit here. So Taco Bell Quarterly seeks literary, creative essays, short stories, fiction, prose, poems, comics, art, one act plays, fever dreams, multimedia, stupid status updates, criticisms, manifestos, recipes, and anything else that explore any and all elements of Taco Bell, or not. Shoehorn a chalupa in your short story, maybe we'll love it. So I'm not going to read all of the rest of this, but I think that's really fun. They have fun wording. You can tell it's a fun literary magazine for sure. And yeah, I believe the editor is Mick, or the founding editor, Mick Kerrigan. I could be wrong and mispronouncing names. I apologize again. Taco Bell Quarterly is based out of the U.S. I think the founding editor was Baltimore. I could be wrong. It was in Baltimore. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But yeah, so if you go over here, you can see some of the issues they've had in the past. And there are some advertisements on their website. So obviously when that happens, I have to mark the episode. I don't know why, but podcasts, they whenever they detect like any advertisements, you know, they detect it as like a promotional episode or something like that. So I have to mark it that way. It just happens that way. I don't know why. But, these aren't sponsored episodes or anything like that, obviously. But yeah. So yeah, let's go back to the homepage here a little bit, and I'll close these pop-ups. So yeah, it says, I'm going to quote this off here and just read a little bit more for you guys. So first and foremost, TBQ is about great writing. It's about provoking and existing among the white noise of capitalism. We embrace the spectrum of trash to brilliance. So it says Taco Bell Quarterly has tens of thousands of readers, and it says they've been interviewed or mentioned in the New Yorker, Slate, Vox, Salon, Food and Wine magazine, Mental Floss, Yahoo, The Guardian, The New York Post, Publishers Weekly, Literary Hub, Bon Appetit, and dozens more. So, yeah, it's a literary magazine for Taco Bell arts and letters. We're a reaction against everything it says, the gatekeepers, the tastemakers, the hipsters, health food, artists who wear cute scarves, and I'm going to curse here a little bit, bitch ass Wendy's. We seek to demystify what it means to be literary, artistic, important, and elite. We welcome writers and artists of all merit, whether you're published in the Paris Review, rejected from the Paris Review, or DGAF, right? I'm abbreviating it there like they did what the Paris Review is. So yeah, they have fun wording, and I think it's very cool. How much Taco Bell Quarterly has grown. I think on social media, on one like Twitter, formerly Twitter X, right? I think they have like 34,000 followers on their social media and stuff. I think it's cool. How much they've grown. I think I was reading some of I think the founding editor's Substack post, and I apologize if it wasn't it could be written by Mick, or on the Taco Bell Quarterly Substack, it stated they didn't really anticipate that it would take off in the way that it did, and I think that's really cool. you know um and yeah, they've put together a lot of issues. I haven't gotten issues myself or anything like that, but if we go back to here, I occasionally just like check feeds and stuff. I think Taco Bell Quarterly always has some really motivational also tweets and social media posts out on X, I mean, and elsewhere on their channels. I think it's really cool. Yeah, the editor in chief is Kerrigan, and yeah, so they were founded back in 2019, and just some stats here. So their vibe is showing we're just chilling here. Response time has been showing, chill subs 253 days on average. So it's possible, I didn't wait long enough when I sent my submission through. I can't remember if I saw that their issue was created at the time, or maybe I just didn't wait long enough. It's possible. But yeah, the acceptance rate, looks like here it's been averaging for most about 3% or so. And yeah, so I think again they did bump up the pay, from $100 to 150. That's what I'm seeing in submittable and on social media noted, but that I don't know if that's accurate. Anyways, they pay, and that's awesome. So yeah, they nominate for prizes best of the net. There could be others. I'm not sure if that's updated or active on social media. Accept simultaneous submissions, and it says the process via email. So I don't know if they took a break from using Submittable, but they still have their page up. So I don't know if they're transitioning to using mostly email for intaking submissions or alternating between that. I'm not really sure. In any case, yeah, Taco Bell Quarterly is a very cool publication. And, back to me mentioning the Substack that they have. So let me see if I can find it for you guys. I don't know if I have it open or not. I may not have it up right now. Um, I think it was on their Substack. Let me see if I can find it. Anyways, on Substack, oh yeah, I have it up. So this is their Substack. This is the article I'm referring to. I think, what I've read thus far, I think Taco Bell Quarterly is, brutally honest, and that's really cool to see. And yeah, and refreshing. I think it's important that Litmag editors and those who run the operations behind it are very honest and upfront about, how much things cost, what they're seeing. And yeah, so I really like this article that was posted. It's titled How to Run a Successful Literary Magazine. It's was back in April 12th, 2023. Now, just some points and highlights of this article that I came across. Um, it mentioned here, let's see if I can find it. So, I'm just quoting this off. So Taco Bell Quarterly, a free literary magazine that publishes online and totally run by volunteers, costs around $3,000 per issue to put out. They pay contributors $100, funded by donations, newsletter subscriptions, and merch sales. 2 to 5% of every donation, sale, and sub gets shaved off the top in fees. And then it says they get taxed on top of it too. Setting up a nonprofit is even more expensive and time consuming. Additional costs include the CLMP membership, submittable, website maintenance, and attending AWP add up to more than $1,000. And yeah, so it mentions back in 2023 that they said they only had enough cash for 2 more issues. I don't know where they're at currently, but it looks like they're still, intaking submissions and donations and all of that, and are still operational. So yeah, um, absolutely. I think that just goes to show you it's very expensive, Um, as I mentioned, obviously running anything, even a literary magazine, right? Takes funds, so they have paid subscribers and pledges through their Substack. They have donation sections on their site. So donations really do help literary magazines and journals. Absolutely, every bit helps. And yeah, I think, again, something that I read, the founding editor mentioned, they didn't feel like they were super qualified, to, run a literary magazine or start it, based on their experience, but they ended up taking it on. And yeah, it was it originally, it felt like they just started something and didn't really expect to take off as it did, and it's really evolved. I think, each volume, each issue, and I think that's really nice to see that, something that, it just it goes to show you, if you start a lit magazine journey, you never know the journey it's going to take you on, the the amount it'll impact, the writing community and things like that. I think that's really lovely. So I think, again, TBQ, I've seen some really great and, awesome posts on their social media. Sort of motivating writers. You're like, keep at it, keep posting into the oblivion. That's what it says on the Substack too. Keep sending your work, even though your heart's gonna probably face some heart, even though you're gonna face some heartbreak, still do it. Cause it's it's important to, share, to really do that, it's and yeah, I was just rereading some of the stuff I think I wasn't scrolling, but I was rereading some of the stuff at the bottom here. And yeah, so maybe I'll link out this article so you guys can read it or check out their Substack post from 2023. I don't know if they paused or took a break from Substack. In either case, they have some really fun posts and some fun merch. Their merch shop, I'll just show you real quick. It's pretty fun, actually. I got rejected by TBQ and all I got was this shirt. So that one is really fun. Yeah, so, every bit helps, we're having a merch shop, mugs, all of that, and yeah, so their guidelines here, um, you know, it's and it says here in their guidelines, the question is this going to be quarterly? And it says here, it comes out when we feel like it. So the word count guideline, it says attention spans are like 500 to 1500 words. And yeah, so it is updated their site. It says they reopened 4/20, 2025. I don't know if that's every year they open on 4/20, each year. That could be it. And then maybe they, state, in Chill Subs it says they're open, and Duotrope. That's why it's important to check social media and verify in more than a couple places, right, on the status of a lit magazine journal. Because sometimes certain places say closed, or the listing may not be updated, like I showed on a couple places in the past. So it says they're paying $100 on a Merriam per acceptance, but I'm seeing 150 mentioned again. So it's possible they raised that. And yeah. So yeah, so it says again, TBQ is funded by social media hustling, side gigs, merch sales, donations, and a personal gamble that it might be worth it one day. 100% of the donations are paid to writers for the work. TBQ was built on the labor of writers, poets, artists, and strangers who just wanted to help because they thought it was cool. And yeah, so yeah, I think what Taco Bell quarterly does is really nice, the issues, and I haven't again looked a whole bunch at their issues and things like that myself, but let's see if I can click on it for you guys here. So yeah, you can click into the issues here. Some advertisements pop up from time to time, and yeah, so you know let's see what happens when we click in here. So you can see this is what it sort of looks like on their page. And my only comment would be I'm not a huge fan of advertisement pop-ups. I'm okay if they're like, static, but, we can close out of them. It's not a huge deal. Sometimes lit magazine journals, I mentioned, have advertisements, right, to help, offset costs too. Or, they have other fellow publications have advertisements too, or just businesses and things like that too. Yeah, so yeah, they have the poet's bio and then issues you can click into. So yeah, I think that's really cool. They're set up here, and yeah. So if we go back to submittable here real quick, I may have to refresh the page sometimes. Oh, I didn't wait long enough. Sorry guys, I'll refresh it still. So yeah, they're working on their eighth issue. It looks like, and yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh, here's the deadline portion. So it says the last time they were open, they got 3K subs in just a little over 3 months. Wow. So that's a lot. I can understand, it takes a while, quite a while to get back to others then. Absolutely. I think personally, guys, I just didn't wait long enough to hear back because based on that makes sense, right? That's a lot of submissions. Absolutely. And it says they probably cap about 1,500 subs. So, it says we may be open for a month ish, but if you miss the cap, you can always email it. Don't stress. We're barely a real lit mag. But no, absolutely. Taco Bell is a real lit mag and journal. I feel like they do a lot, in the literary writing community, and being able to reach, any amount to pay writers and, artists for their work. That is such a big accomplishment to do that. It's not easy to facilitate that. I myself have not been able to do that thus far, but, who knows? Maybe one day. I think it's every lit mag and journal has a slightly different structure and setup, right? And I think, Taco Bell Quarterly, just does a good job of being very upfront about, hey, these are our costs. This is what, happened. This is our journey of how we got here. And, every path and Lit Mag and Journal has is not exactly the same. Same of writers and artists. The path to publication and journey is going to look a little bit different. And, starting a literary magazine, right, is a little bit different as well. You may start something, right, and then it just takes off in a completely new way you never thought it would. And again, the impact. So I think that's really cool. And I do hope, they continue beyond, volume 8, go to 9, 10, 11, 12 for sure. Again, it's so important, again, to, when you can, absolutely, donate to Lit Mags, buy something in the merch shop, it all, every bit helps for sure. And yeah. And it says here, does it have to be about Taco Bell? So, does it have to mention it? It's the Taco Bell Quarterly. The joke is that it's our only guideline. Also, we do not have any guidelines. We have no rules. You can say whatever you want. We have an aesthetic. We have a vibe. It says read our last 3 issues, especially to get a sense of the direction we're going in. We've been going in, and yes, it can and should be about Taco Bell too, because that is the joke of the literary magazine, in which every piece has a recurring product placement because life might happen in a Taco Bell or the Taco Bell logo in the background for a moment. That moment of product placement may be chosen sincerely, sarcastically, however you see fit to tell your story and land in the Taco Bell Quarterly. Why that moment? Why are you telling that story? It's probably not the Taco Bell. And we're not Taco Bell. We're just the strangers in the background listening in on your conversations. Tell us a good story. We are interested in presenting pieces that are in conversation with one another, and often the mention of Taco Bell is the tiny thread that connects these larger stories. So, yeah. And then it says they are, interested in promoting other things too, and they have some other stuff here. And yeah, so I won't read through everything. They have some fun jokes in their wording for sure. And yeah. And and here it says, I'm quoting this, we're like the Paris Review, but with bean burritos. I love bean burritos, guys. So yeah, Taco Bell Quarterly is def fun. I don't know what, guys, your favorite tacos are. I'm like a fish taco person. I love fish tacos. Like, I always get that if that's an option. And I love bean burritos too, obviously. Chicken burritos. I grew up eating a lot of burritos, guys. That's for sure. Like, while I'm working on homework in the morning or all of that stuff back when I was younger, it was just like a lot of burritos. I just remember that. I like, I don't, sometimes we have, I had sometimes those frozen burritos, right? The EVOL burritos a lot. But I like fresh burritos, fresh tacos, I don't like frozen foods a bunch. I don't eat a lot of fast food personally, but, I do have fond memories of going to Taco Bell. I think there was also a school project where I ended up doing a Taco Bell like cartoon drawing. I think I did. I also think I did a Burger King drawing or something with The Simpsons. I formerly did a lot of cartoon drawings and cartooning over the years. So yeah, I definitely did at some point in time a Taco Bell drawing, I must say. I can't remember if it was a school project or something. It probably was. I don't remember what it entails. If I can remember it, I'll be sure to share. But yeah, definitely had some Taco Bell, shirts and stuff growing up. I think we had two Taco Bell shirts. I can't remember, but anyways, my dad definitely wore that quite a bit, and we used to, joke about that. And yeah, anyways, guys, I think, we're probably going to have to get food. I've been talking about food a little bit now, right? I mentioned Rattle had that food poems call that closed, right? And then in their last issue, I think, or one of the issues, not last, but yeah, anyways, I think we're going to have to get tacos after this, guys, right? Are you going to go to Taco Bell because after listening to this Taco Bell quarterly episode? Anyways, yeah, let me know, guys, what your favorite tacos are, if you love tacos or not, or your favorite Taco Bell meal. If you comment on this, you don't have to, but be sure to get some tacos. Yeah, fish tacos are awesome. I'm trying to think of anything else. I like chicken tacos. I'm not a vegan or vegetarian, but I've had vegan tacos for sure at some places. And I think there's some wicked cool food trucks, in Minneapolis that I had gotten a chance to eat at too for fun. And yeah, so absolutely love, burritos for sure, and tacos. I mean, can you imagine, guys, a world without tacos and like all that stuff? I mean, and the saying, right? Something that Taco Bell quarterly comes up quite a bit. Live Más, right? That Taco Bell has a couple different slogans or stuff they've had in their commercials, right? Live Más. So it's a lot of fun. I think Taco Bell quarterly, again, TBQ goes to show you can have fun with your lit mag, lit mag or journal. The creation of it, if you're going to start one, and let loose, and just it's all about supporting writers and artists, and everyone has a different vibe and layout to it, and I really like what Taco Bell quarterly has done. I haven't stopped in through their site a bunch, but it's one that I've always never forgot existed just because their name is like so memorable, right? It's a, Taco Bell, right? We all know that, right? I don't know, guys. Is there like a lit mag or journal that out there like Burger King related, or some other ones, or what are some other places? I grew up going to Arby's at one point in time too. Once or something, I had Arby's chicken in the parking lot, and through the drive-through. Wendy's I've tried a couple times when I was younger, but there was a point in time, I just stopped going to fast food places. But occasionally my folks and I, we like order, like some Chinese food, some restaurants and stuff. And we sort of like essentially not review it, but we're like, oh, some of this is too salty, or some of this is like, oh, we probably should have cooked at home instead. But for sure, sometimes for fun, we just eat out and have meals, with I've had, some lunch meetings with friends and other stuff at some fast food places and stuff, even coworkers. There's this place we used to go at my first workplace. I never forgot. It was called Pickles. I always used to get this like crunchy chicken salad, or not, the salad wasn't crunchy, but like the chicken was like this crispy battered of chicken salad and stuff. And yeah, anyways, I think, I love pizza places for sure, I must say, and tacos have always been my fave. My mom used to make like homemade tacos, something I never forgot too, guys. So sorry, I'm going off into memories here, but this is also an audio diary series for me too, just like my journey, and some memories come up from time to time too. So something I never forgot. I mentioned iCarly on this podcast episode, right? I don't know why that came to my mind, but I was rewatching the series a little bit, within the past year, and then the new episodes. I think they cut it short, right? The relaunch of it, which was sad, like the reboot of iCarly. And yeah, spaghetti tacos. Remember Spencer's spaghetti tacos? Those were always like, I don't know if you guys ever made those yourself or tried to. I've never, don't think I've ever had that. Or did I ever have like try to make that? I don't remember. But I've had all kinds of tacos, guys. So anyways, if you don't know what I'm talking about, spaghetti tacos, just look up iCarly spaghetti tacos. Yeah, but Taco Bell, for sure. I don't know what they have on their menu nowadays, guys. I haven't like looked at it in quite some time, but I might do that after this podcast and just like hop over and see what's up. Yeah. So Taco Bell Quarterly, check it out, guys, and see if you like to submit. Totally try. It looks like they are open right now based on their social media activity and the calls here. So don't always necessarily refer to just submittable or duotrope. Check a couple different places. I know it's hard for places to update things and do that, but yeah, we do the best we can as editors, and things like that. And yeah. In any case, I must say Taco Bell Quarterly, it's awesome again that they're able to pay writers for the work, and I do hope they continue, go beyond, volume 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12, and so forth. Because I think it's a really awesome lyric magazine, very unique in the community for sure. So that's all, guys. Take care, and yeah.